Hello and welcome back to TLDW, the show where I sum up movies in a short amount of time. Today, we're covering Jurassic Park, because I want to ride a dinosaur someday. Let's go! So we open on a dinosaur being transported into a cage. This guy, Muldoon, is overseeing it, and in the process, someone falls in and gets eaten. Because again, this is not well run, this park. It's not well run at all. As a result of that guy getting eaten, the investors to this park sent this guy. He's a lawyer. He's been sent to essentially investigate the park, and he's like, listen, we need 3 experts to sign off on the park, okay? That's what we need. I've got 1. Can you go find 2 more? This guy, Hammond, is like, yeah, probably. I can find 2 more. So off he goes. He goes to find 2 more. Alan and Ellie. These 2 are currently digging up dinosaur bones in the desert. They're having a grand old time. Hammond shows up and is like, hello, I want you to come to the park. And they're like, we don't really want to do that. It doesn't seem like a good use of our time. He's like, what if I pay for your digs for the next 5 years? And they're like, I guess we're going to the park. They all fly to Jurassic Park. We don't see any dinosaurs yet, but we do see this man, Jeffrey Goldblumington. He's a wonderful man and a very sexy individual in this period of his life and today. So these are the experts who have come to sort of inspect the park and make sure it's up to code. Also here is the lawyer. But before we get to what they're up to, we're going to get to what this guy's up to. So this is Dennis Nedry. He's meeting with this guy. This guy's called Lewis. He works for a company that is paying him to steal a bunch of embryos from Jurassic Park. And he's going to smuggle it out in like a can of shaving cream. That's that situation, and he agrees. They're now at the park, and you know what they see? They see dinosaurs, and they're all like, wow, dinosaurs! Crazy. So then they go to the lab and they learn how all the dinosaurs are made. Effectively, what happens is mosquitoes millions of years ago suck the blood out of a dinosaur, crawl into some sap, get preserved in this amber, and then they extract the blood from the mosquitoes today, extrapolate the DNA out, and then they have dinosaurs. There are some gaps in DNA which they filled with the DNA of certain frogs. I'm sure there'll be no consequences to that. Goldblum isn't happy about this. To be honest, they're amazed, but they're like, this is a terrible idea. They believe there'll be no breeding because they've made sure all the dinosaurs are female. And Jeffrey here is like, we'll see. And he's also like, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think about whether they should. After they've seen the lab, they go to see the raptor pen where they meet Muldoon, and he's like, I don't want the raptors here, they're too clever. They're like, they are the smartest dinosaurs there, and they run a real risk of injuring more of our employees. But Hammond is like, it's fine, relax. So then we cut to the mealtime, and they're all kind of against it. But the lawyer's like, this is going to be incredible. We're going to make so much money from this. It's tour time. Who's going on the tour? Not Hammond. Hammond's going to chill at the park. Hammond's grandkids have arrived. Timmy and Lex. So they all go on a tour in these autonomous vehicles. They have a grand old time, but there's a tropical storm coming. And we're going to cut to the control room. Who's in the control room? Samuel L. Jackson's in this movie. Whoa! Also Hammond's here. So that's the control room crew. I'm actually going to break these up to the car crews. Okay, so when the tour begins, first there's no Dilophosauruses, and then there's no T-Rex. So far, it's a pretty shit tour. But then at some point during the tour, they all get out of the cars because it turns out they found a Triceratops who's sick. So Ellie stays and looks after the Triceratops, so she's no longer with the crew, while the rest of them continue on the tour. So while the storm's getting bad, he's been given a way off the island by that mysterious company. So his way off the island, because the storm's bad, is like, I'm getting out of here. So he's like, fuck it, I'm doing it now. Steals the embryos, basically shuts down all security except the raptor pen. The raptor pen he keeps there. So all of the defenses are powered down. The tour has stopped near the T-Rex pen. T-Rex comes out of the pen, dangerous. These 2 are like, we know what's up. It's a T-Rex. Its vision is based on movement. We're not going to move. Lawyer is a big pussy, and as soon as the T-Rex is stomping around, runs to a bathroom. This is what the T-Rex looks like. So he goes to the toilet and is hiding in the toilet. While he's hiding in the toilet, the kids are freaking out because there's a T-Rex here. So they're like shining light around, they're trying to get out of there, and these 2 are like, idiot kids, just stay still. So their car's getting a bit fucked up. So what Alan does is he gets out of the car with a flare, does a big like, oh, throws it away, and the T-Rex runs away for a bit, and he's like, right, come on kids, let's get the fuck out of here. And then the T-Rex comes back, terrible, terrible stuff, and Goldblum's like, here's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab a flare as well, but instead of throwing it away, I'm just gonna run away with it. So he runs away with the flare and gets knocked into the bathroom. The bathroom is knocked down. Lawyer's just sat there, but he's just sat on the toilet. He looks up and he's like, wah! Yeah, he's just gobbled up in one bite. He's dead. It's a bit of a crisis moment where essentially the car's really beaten up. So Alan grabs the kids and tries to save as many of them as he can, but only manages to grab Lex. Like, they get knocked off this massive wall, effectively, and they're trying to rappel down, and then they dodge the car as it comes down. Timmy's in that car, and it lands in a tree, so he's not dead yet. They get to the ground. He's unconscious. We'll take him away for now. T-Rex does not give chase, so we'll leave her down here. Tim is not doing so hot in a tree. Alan climbs up, gets him out the tree. The car falls down, but they're all fine. They all sort of stay together. They stay safe. They end up climbing another tree, and they stay there for the night. But meanwhile, while all that's going on, bad other things are happening. Dennis is escaping with the embryos, but then he meets some Dilophosauruses, and they just sort of look at him and they're like, huh, catch this idiot, and spit in his face, and he's killed and eaten because he's been blinded by Dilophosaurus acid in his eyes. Dennis is dead. Back at the control room, Laura Dern has been brought back there, and she's like, where the fuck is everyone else? And Muldoon's like, let's go. And so he grabs a gun, and the two of them, they're gonna go find everybody. So now we're dividing up again. They're still trying to figure out how to stop what Nedry did, but because he built the entire thing and has like coded it in such a way, they're like, we can't do anything about it yet. These two go for a drive, and they find an unconscious Jeff Goldblum. T-Rex shows up again, and Goldblum's like, let's fucking go. So they all drive away, and they're like, listen, Alan is probably fine. He's got the kids. He'll be all right. We'll find them again later. So now these guys are up a tree, and while they're up a tree, the morning comes, and there's just some Brachiosauruses up there. They're having a grand old time. Back at the central part of everything, these two are having a chat, and he's like, you know, when I make the park again, I'm gonna do it differently. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean when you make the park again? Your grandkids are still out there, and they're gonna die. You want to make the park again, and you've killed like 5 people today. And these guys, they climb down the tree and they wander off. They're going to try and make their way back to where like the tourist center is, essentially, where the rest of them are. While they're wandering around, Alan finds some hatched dinosaur eggs, and he's like, I knew it. Jeff Goldblum was right, because, you know, life found a way, and because of the DNA nonsense with the frogs or whatever, some of them have changed sex, and now they can have kids. These two are like, we can't fix this situation. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to shut the entire park down, reboot it, and then we'll have full control again. But if we do that, everything is going to get unlocked. The raptors, everything. It's going to be very bad. So let's all get to the bunker. 4 of these folks are in the bunker because Samuel L. Jackson has gone to repower up the park. Power it down, power it up. That's what he's doing, and I'm sure he's fine while he's doing it. But he ends up taking too long. So she's like, I want to go help. And Muldoon's like, I'll come with you. So they agree to go. They grab walkie-talkies, and these two stay to basically help navigate them. They get there. In the process of getting there, the raptors have been freed. Muldoon tries to fight them. He's aiming at one of them, but then another one bursts out of the bushes next to him, and he just turns, he's like, clever girl. And then he's eaten, and Muldoon is killed. But she makes it into the power area and starts, you know, getting everything back on power. And as she's doing so, these 3 have made it back to the T-Rex pen, and they're climbing the fence. They're like, luckily, it's not powered. And as they're sort of climbing it, these 2 get over it. Tim's just climbing down. He's having a grand old time. She's flicking on the switches one by one. He's like, we need to get you down now quickly because everything's starting to come back online. Get down. And Tim's like, nah, I'll be all right. And then just gets shocked off it and like goes fucking flying. Should be dead. But he's not, he's alive. And then once she's turned everything back on, an arm grabs her, and he's like, oh, thank God, Samuel L. Jackson, you're still, oh, that's just your arm. Because he's been ripped to shreds by raptors. And she's like, okay, time to get back. So she rushes back, they're rushing back, and they see each other, and it's like, oh, thank God, we're back together. We're all back together, everybody. It's great. Now they're all hanging out. Bloody raptors. Raptors have shown up, and they start hunting down the kids. But the kids do manage to trick the raptors into smashing their heads on some reflective metal in the kitchen. So that's great. They manage to get out, get to the control room where these 2 are. They're all hiding out in there. These 2 are trying to hold the door, being like, we can't fucking shut the door in time. Meanwhile, Lex is hacking in, trying to basically get all the doors to lock shut again. They manage it. They pull it off. They manage to lock the doors. But even though all the doors are closing across the park, they can't get the door closed on the control room quick enough. So they're like, fuck it, let's run. They get into the roof and they book it. They're just running around, and they get back to the main room where the big skeleton of a T-Rex is, and they're surrounded on all sides by raptors, and they're like, this could be it. This is over. And then Tyrannosaurus Rex appears and just noms one of them, and these guys are like, let's just go. So they run outside, and guess who's outside? It's these 2 in a car. So they all pile into the car, and they drive to the helicopter landing pad, get in the helicopter, and they get the fuck out. So that was Jurassic Park. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and also leave a comment if there's any other films you'd like me to cover in the future. I would much appreciate it. I've actually received an invitation myself to go visit Jurassic Park, and I'm quite excited. I think they've fixed all the problems now, so be fine.